This video is going to be on solving linear systems by elimination. Now, we've got one method we did, which was solving by graphing. We did another method, which was solving by substitution. And now we're going to look at solving by elimination. We actually did a bit of elimination in one of the exercises where we were working out the bowling cost. Now, in that one, if you recall, we subtracted equations in order to get rid of one variable. And, well, to get rid of is to eliminate. So the process is very similar, but we're going to look at a few examples and then you're going to have one to do on your own. So just like with substitution, we number our equations. Remember, convention, which means that's the way we do things. Convention is to number your equations to the right of the equation. So don't put your numbers in front of them. The numbers go to the right of the equation. And what we want to do is, and I'm going to break this down into some steps as well. Step one is you want x and y in on the same side. So you want them to the left-hand side and in the same spot. Meaning if your x's are coming first, then they should be first in both equations, and then the second term should be y, or the other way around. That's what we mean by same spot. The next step is to stack the equations. Now, I usually give them to you stacked anyways, but if for some reason they're not, when you're working them out yourself, you will need to stack them. So stacking means you have them one on top of the other. And then step three is add or subtract to eliminate a variable. And then you will solve. You solve the remaining variable. And once we're done that, we sub and solve for the other. So I'm going to just label this as just solve the system. So let's do this for our first example. And first example, to start us off, we actually have our x's and y's already in the same spot, so we don't need to do anything with that. They are stacked, but we're going to start working on it. So we're going to stack them, and then we are going to add or subtract. So if I stack my equations, I'm going to write them down here. I'm going to put in my equation numbers again, just so that I have them there. And I prefer to put what I'm doing, so my operation, in another color so it stands out from my work, okay? And you push it a little bit to the side so that you can see it clearly. So now we have negative 5x plus 7y and we have 5x minus 2y. So the variable that I can eliminate easily is x. And I will eliminate it by adding, because if I say negative 5 and then I add 5, that gives me 0, which allows me to then have 0x, which means my x's are eliminated. Then you have, and this is important, I'm going to highlight as I go along and then I'll get rid of my highlighting. We have 7y plus negative 2y. Okay, so that is like saying 7 minus 2. And that's important for you to realize what we're doing there. So that becomes 5y. And now we have 32 plus negative 2, which is like 32 minus 2, which is 30. Now we have to divide by 5, so I get y equals 6. This I can substitute into any of my equations above. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to sub it into equation 2. Like I said, it doesn't matter where you put it. So in equation 2, wherever I see y, I now replace it with 6. So that gives me 5x minus 12 equals negative 2. 5x equals 10. X equals 2. So my solution is 2 and 6. Remember, x always comes first, right? So it's 2 and 6, not 6 and 2. Okay, so that was looking at one example. Let's do another one. Okay, so here, my first step is to have my x's and y's in the same spot and then stack them. So if I look at it, I have x's and y's, both equations, my x's and y's are on the left-hand side, except in my first equation, I have the y's first, and in the second equation, I have the x's first. And I would like them to match up. So I'm going to rearrange the first equation. That part doesn't matter. So I'm just going to shift that positive 3x to come in front of that minus 2y. And now I'm going to put my numbers in because I just want to have my equation numbers. The variable I'm choosing to eliminate is x because I have 3x and 3x. So those are easy to eliminate because if I subtract them, then they will go away. So again, to remember, we are subtracting. So this is negative 2y minus negative 4y. So negative 2 minus negative 4 is like saying negative 2 plus 4. So I will have 2y there. And then here I have negative 11 minus negative 19. So negative 11 minus negative 19 is like negative 11 plus 19, which is 8. And then we have y equals 4. This now we can sub into either equation, doesn't matter. I'm going to sub it into the first one. So that means in my first equation, wherever I see y, I will now replace it with 4. And then now I can solve for x. So x equals -1. Therefore, the solution is, and then remember x always comes first in a point, -1 and 4. Okay, so the example that you need to do is this one. Oh, I'm writing down the same one we just did. Okay, so that's the system you have to solve. And then when you've got that all done, then you scan and submit these notes into Google Classroom, and we will be practicing this in our next